get into this. So this is our barbell box squat, okay? Now the reason why it says hip in parentheses is because the focus point, the pivot point here is gonna be primarily your hip. Your knee is gonna be stable over your foot. So we're getting to our squat depth here by just moving back through the hip, okay? That's gonna require some things that maybe we're not used to squatting like in the gym or on the regular. So what we're gonna do is the feet are gonna be a little wider than usual, all right? That's gonna help us kind of isolate that hip movement, okay? Next thing we wanna talk about is the barbell. So we have these bands on, okay? So the bands are providing us accommodating resistance, okay? So essentially what's happening is as we go lower, right, is that tension gonna increase or decrease? It's gonna decrease, right? Less tension. Now as we start to go up, it's gonna increase. So it's gonna get heavier at the top, okay, when we're trying to lock out the hips, okay? So that's gonna force us to stay nice and rigid and organized, right? Rib cage on top of the hips as we go up, right? Which is key for us because a lot of times we see people come out of a squat, what tends to happen, right? If they're gonna fail, right, they're gonna collapse, right? That lumbar spine, chest goes down, right? A bunch of ugliness starts to come out. We wanna stay nice and tall. So make sure as we come up, we're not letting that band and that barbell win, okay? I do want you guys to try to go up and weight on this, so we'll just slap weight on the side. But if you haven't done anything like this before with bands, just go empty barbell first, right? And try to find that, master that skill a little bit, practice, and then we'll start to add weight, okay? So we're gonna get the barbell on our back. We're gonna talk about upper body first, right? So make sure that back is nice and tight, right? So shoulder blades are pulled down, and a nice little coaching cue for that is try to bend the bar over your back. And if you even just do that right now, practice. So just pretend you have like a ghost bar in your hands, right? And just try to bend that bar against your back. What do you feel turn on in your back? Right? Your lats, right? Upper back, all that stuff. That's important because the barbell is sitting where? On your back. So you don't want a soft back, right? You put a strong back, right? So don't hope for the best, right? Make it the best, right? So squeeze that barbell down, right? So once we lock that in, right, we're gonna squat the bar up, so make sure we get our feet, hips somewhat under the bar. Remember, a wider stance than usual, all right, so get wide. Make sure we don't lose any points of contact. We talked about the tripod foot. Pressure in the heel, right? Big ball, little ball, balance point, all three contacts as we go down, and then when we start to come up and apply force through the hips, same thing. We're putting force down through those 3 points of contact, okay? So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna start to send the hips back. Every squat movement starts with the hips, right? But notice those knees are staying right where they need to be. They're stable over the foot. There's not a lot of movement. They're just staying right there, all right? From the bottom position, core is tight, right? Chest and head leads the way. Hips squeeze and drive them forward, all right? So as we start to descend, we should feel a nice stretch in the glutes, the hamstrings, right? To the point where we get down to the bottom, all we're gonna do is squeeze them and start to drive them up, okay? Notice too, as Ben descends, right, his thighs are coming out to the side, right? The reason why that's happening is that's his hip opening up and making space for his body to get to that level, okay? If he leaves his femurs in front, right, let's try one like that. So start up, start to squat, and just collapse your knees, right? He's gonna lose that position. So now he's not gonna load his hips, he's gonna be loading his quad, his knee, and things like that. So we wanna stay open at the hip, externally rotate, right, at the hip. Right? Good.